I-26 male caught my long-standing GF31 female cheating on me the same day we looked for wedding rings. How can I begin to process this? So I don't really know where to start, but I don't have anyone to really talk to about this, and I've been mentally declining ever since I found out. Some backstory. I moved states for her all by myself in late 2018 and moved in with her and her mother. My girlfriend, let's call her Kay, and I have been together for 7 years and have known each other for about 10 years. We've had our ups and downs, like I feel most do, but our biggest issues have been what we aim for as adults. I grew up very poor and have grinded tooth and nail to get a career started and make sure I never end up in that scenario again. This has been my drive, as all I want is security and to never have to worrying about being paycheck to paycheck or wondering where my next meal comes from. This way of being has affected all forms of my life, and I will do anything I can legally, of course, to get ahead. Well, Kay doesn't prioritize the same things I do. She has a big heart and has always had something to do with helping people. Her first job, for close to 10 years, was as a housing manager for people with special needs. She would care for them and feed them, change them, and take care of anything they needed. And her second job now is as a daycare teacher. I give credit to her heart because she does jobs that I certainly couldn't handle. Her main goal has always been to help others without any care of what it would do to her. This major difference in life views has gotten in the way because she enjoys her work, but I feel that she has always been underappreciated. Her first job she was only making approximately $14 an hour with number 401k or health insurance. They treated her poorly, and overall the management did some shady stuff, like taking advantage of government grants that never actually ended up where they were supposed to. I tried pushing her to leave that job since at the time I was making okay money and could handle the little amount of spending we did on my own. I was given the runaround for years. Promise after promise was broken. I later changed jobs and had the option to add her on my health insurance as a domestic partner at a pretty heavy cost to me, but I did so. Well, the job arguments with Kay went on and on until she had a seizure at work. She was taken on an ambulance, and we later found out it was caused by a mass in her brain that stemmed from a birth defect. During this time she was in and out of work because of the seizure, and having to make doctor's appointments one day out of the blue, her place of employment implemented a strict phone policy. That same day when she got home from work, she was called and told they had to let her go because she was too much of a liability. After fighting for unemployment, she was then told she was let go because of phone usage. Yeah, that policy they implemented the same day. Well, I was upset because she spent years trying to support that place, and they turned around and screwed her over. We tried to sue them, but things didn't go well either, as it was a 50-50th shot we would win, and even then it wouldn't be much. We took this time for her to deal with the medical issues. After a biopsy and then a brain surgery to remove that portion of her brain that was causing the seizures, she has luckily been seizure-free for over a year. After this stressful period, we both had a come-to-Jesus moment. This came in the form of understanding that I could now handle our car notes, credit card bills, and medical bills on my own. So we talked about her maybe going back to school or spending some serious time finding a good job. Well, all that went out the window, and she ended up where she is now, making roughly the same money with no 401k and health insurance and no real room for growth. Although she may not worrying, it was a great bother to me because I would like to buy our own house and have a safe life where we can retire happily. This caused lots of arguments that continued. Finally, the day it happened, we were doing some shopping, and for a few years, she had talked about getting married. I put it off because of the aforementioned difference, and I knew we would have to deal with it before we commit. Over time we came to what we thought was a middle ground, and I was ready to commit. While shopping, we come across a jewelry store and start narrowing down wedding rings. We had most of everything planned out at this point, so we look around and go about our day with me planning to come back and surprise her with the ring in a few days. We get home, and we both lie down to take a nap. I start scrolling while she sleeps, and I get a sudden urge to check her phone, mind you. I've probably only done this twice in our time together. What I found made me heart drop. I found multiple Snapchat messages and saved pictures and videos from other men. She had streaks with a couple of them. Both sides were sending stuff and saying things back and forth. This hurt me especially bad because she isn't very sexually open or active, and I talked to her about exploring more, but I feel that she gave that side to other men before she did to me. I confront her, an argument ensues. I have her phone during this time as I'm still going through it, and she tears my clothes up and scratches me up to get it back. She leaves for a few days while I stay at her mom's house because I have nowhere to go. After we sit down and have a conversation, she explains she felt like she was never good enough for me because of the work issues we had, and that led her to feel so down about herself that she just talked to random guys who added her on Snapchat and would send things back and forth for affirmation. I know I wasn't the best and probably pushed too hard, but all I wanted to do was to push her to become better like I would want my partner to do for me. After lots of talks, therapy, and meds, I agreed to try again with the promise of things changing. Well, things have gotten better, but for the past 2 months I've been spiraling. Meds and therapy aren't helping, and my sleep and mental health start taking a toll. I start vaping again after being nicotine-free for over a year, and I start drinking to numb the pain. This has taken a toll at work and in every other aspect of my life, and I just don't know what to do. My heart cares for Kay, and she was my first real love, long before we started dating. We both had other partners for a long time before things just worked out after we started talking again. Well, although my heart is telling me to try again, my mind is telling me to move on. I have a history of abandonment issues because of my father. I also don't have a very close relationship with anyone aside from Kay because I feel like I can be suffocating, clingy, and no one seems to have my back as well as I do, so things either fizzle out, or I cut people off for my well-being. How do I begin to process this and try to trust again, or do I walk away? I bounce between both, as they are both painful, and I am truly lost, all the while I'm suffering in the middle. I know staying would take me having to trust, and honestly, my walls were up for a reason. And this seems to only prove I can't trust anyone with my heart. I truly don't know if I can move past it. If I choose to leave, I'm forced to deal with things on my own in a state I moved to for her. I have a career now, I'm in a growing field, but I've stretched myself thin taking care of approximately 3 years of medical debt in the form of hitting our high deductible max out of pocket. I don't think I could afford to be alone, and even then I don't know if I could mentally manage. I have a history of offing attempts and have come a lot closer than I'd like to say recently after being in a great spot for about 6 years. I feel like I can't go back home either because I'm in such good standing. I was flourishing in my work and have made record time for promotions up to now. Sorry for the long post, but any insight or help would be greatly appreciated.